Indian Electrical and Electronics Manufacturers Association organized CableWire 2011, a two-day international conference on cables and wires on 17th and 18th November 2011 at Mumbai. The main focus was on powering growth through innovation. Take a look at this report.
With encouraging power scenario in India, demand for various electrical products including cable is on rise. Keeping in mind the growth in industry and challenges ahead for the industry, CableWire 2011 was organized, which provided a common platform to manufacturers, R&D experts, SEBs, utilities to come together and share emerging trends in technologies, innovative techniques in installation and manufacturing.
Talking about the latest trends is that gradually cables are being used for the sub-transmission networks where you require higher and higher voltage grades. So in India, we are now manufacturing about 220 kV cable. Worldwide, it is about 500 kV cables. So this is an area which the Indian industry has to bridge the gap in terms of technology.
The presenters in the conference were among utilities, manufacturers of cable and raw materials, consultants, academic institutions, research and testing organizations. The conferences provided a platform to all stakeholders to debate and discuss topics on improved technological trends in manufacturing, development of new insulating material, conditioning monitoring and online assessment, techniques for installation and maintenance and enhancing safety aspects.
We have seen today presentations also about DC. That's definitely a new trend. We see more need on the global scale for electricity. AC power, if you may know, AC power is limited to the length of transmission. So we see more and more DC coming up, and that also affects my business, the business of accessories. Also there we are looking into the option of having prefabricated accessories for DC cables.
The envisaged 120 gigawatt addition to installed power generation capacity till 2017, coupled with necessary evacuation plan for transmission and distribution sector, requiring an additional investment of more than USD 400 billion in the electricity sector by the end of 12th plan. This is expected to provide tremendous opportunity for the Indian industry to seize. The Indian electrical equipment manufacturing industry is witnessing a sustained growth momentum, with the industry registering a growth of 14% last year, in spite of sustained imports, especially from China and South Korea.
Presently, Indian exports of electrical equipment are less than 1% of the global trade. With the electricity sector being a sunrise sector across the entire developing world, there also exists a significant export potential for the domestic industry. To talk in detail on Indian cable and wire sector, we have with us Mr. Vijay Karya, Chairman, Cable Division, EMA. Good evening, Mr. Karya, and welcome to Power News.
Hello and good evening to you.
First of all, I'd like to ask you, how do you look at the growth fundamentals of cable and wire industry in the Indian market?
As you know, the cable segment is the largest part of the electrical industry, constituting more than 25% of the entire electrical segment. The entire power sector at the current moment looks to be in a little bit of a doldrum. Utilities, the electricity boards, the DISCOMs facing huge amount of losses, mainly inspired by the large segment of the T&D losses. So, unless and until the power sector does not come out of the doldrum, the wire and cable industry is also going to remain in the same kind of difficult situation that it is in today. So, I think it is going to be stagnant for the next couple of years at least.
Mr. Karya, according to you, what are the major issues and challenges faced by the cable industry?
The issues faced by the industry are many. The first one being the fact that costs of manufacture in India are very high, power costs are very high. Labor is becoming a lot more expensive. India is no longer a cheap country. Interest costs are extremely high. There is no real mechanism to hedge your raw materials, and the most important thing is that the government has to help the industry better the quality of the products, because the products themselves, the manufacturers themselves are facing a huge surplus capacity, and therefore, the surplus capacity is leading to intense competition. Intense competition is leading to erosion of prices. Erosion of prices is leading to worsening of quality. Worsening of quality will lead to more losses, T&D losses, commercial losses, will lead to more fires. It's going to be a cascading effect, which impact of which will not be felt immediately, but will be felt a few years down the line, but definitely the impact will be felt. As I said earlier, we have to have this commoditized approach dropped. The government has to stop looking at placing the order on the lowest tenderer, because this is one of the problems that the industry is facing, and most of the tenders that are being quoted below raw material cost. And I do not believe that any manufacturer worth his salt would be selling his products at below his raw material cost.
Do you see a threat among domestic manufacturers due to emerging Chinese penetration in the Indian market?
Yes, definitely. We have a huge amount of imports coming in from other countries. At one time, about 3 or 4 years ago, our exports were more than our imports. Today, it is the other way around. The imports are 50% more than the exports. So, the Chinese producers are a big threat, and mind well, the wire and cable industry faces a very difficult situation, where on one side we have varying commodity costs, we have high interest rates, but on the other side, the import duty structure, the basic import duty between raw material and finished cables is the differential is less than, it is 2.5%, which is nothing at all, which does not even cover the differential costs of manufacture, nor does it cover the CST, the local duties and taxes that we have to pay out here. So, actually this industry is at a disadvantage as far as imports go.
What expectation cable industry have from the government on this front?
From the government, we expect that the government should give impetus to the entire power sector, specifically the electrical industry, give it a deemed export status, increase the differential duty on the finished cables, not increasing the import duty on the raw materials, or vice versa, make raw materials at zero duty and keep the import duty on the finished cables at the same levels. The government has to understand that the power sector is facing problems of finances, and the cheaper you have the capexes to be, the more impetus and growth will be there in the industry, because most of the power projects are, the transmission or distribution projects are under the government control, and so the government itself is going to benefit directly, but more than that, the common man will benefit. And I am sure that if the government reduces the duties and taxes on the electrical products, we will see much better products being used. So, we expect that the government will help in bettering the quality of the products, in helping the industry grow, but most importantly in helping the country grow.
Industry feels the ideal way forward to sustain the growth momentum with faster GST implementation, creation of level playing field, increased focus on exports and SME development. This can lead to further acceleration in the industry's growth process and contribute significantly in reducing the power demand supply in the country. Thanks, Mr. Karya, for joining us in Power News.
Thank you.
With this, we come to an end of this edition of Power News. Keep sending us your suggestions and views at powernews@zeenetwork.com or call us on 011-405-60701. Do join us next week for more news and updates. Till then, goodbye and take care.